I am happy to be here, and it was a challenge to get here. Having a crazy September and a lot of speaking engagements, and didn't think that I was going to be able to make it, but there's just something about Cooper and Robert and Grace, right? They just get you. And you know, it's TEDxSkidRow. How do you say no? You know, I was honored to be able to speak at the last one, and it definitely was. I've done several TED Talks, and it was by far one of my favorite, and one of my favorite group of curators. And I've just intersected with all of them. Cooper being a part of the very first TEDx with my friend Cooper and Grace at LA Idea Project, and Robert and I met at a TED, and I just feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. And the irony is that part of the reason why I'm so busy right now, why I had to jet here and why I'm having to jet out, is because in addition to multiple writing, speaking engagements that I'm writing for, the one that I'm literally writing for right now is TEDx Wall Street. And so I say that because there's certain speaking engagements like TEDxSkidRow that fall right into my sweet spots. TEDx Wall Street does not. TEDx Wall Street, I'm putting a lot of time into making sure that I'm going to represent the values of TEDxSkidRow at TEDx Wall Street. So I hope that you will forgive me jetting out, but trust me, I am not leaving. I'm simply taking us with me. There's a buddy of mine, business buddy of mine named Christopher Kai, who runs a Monday evening session at the LA Mission called Mondays at the Mission, where he works with a group of youth, homeless youth at the shelter. And he invited me out one year to talk to the kids and come and perform and speak to them and just create some energy. And it ended up being the end of the year celebration. And since then, I've been sort of the annual end of the year speaker for them. And it's just become a place where I go and donate and have become involved in the organization. And but the first time that I spoke there was this fantastic collision of events that happened where I went in, I did a couple of performances, I bonded with some of the kids, and then I was done. And afterwards, just as I was leaving, all the kids like grabbed me, not all of them, but a group of them grabbed me and brought me over, and they were like, can you come do this for our parents? Like, they need to hear you. They need to hear that. And so suddenly I was like, well, where are they? And so they brought me into this room, and there was like all these, you know, bunk beds and beds and this big room where women were laid out and just, you know, like literally in their pajamas, getting ready to go to bed. And the kids brought them in, was like, before you go to bed, you need to hear this. And I literally was thrown off guard. I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't want to do all the big, I'd done maybe 20 minutes for the kids. I didn't want to sort of duplicate that. So I just sort of yanked something out of my brain. And what came out at that moment was, with ghosts in my periphery, I keep my focus ahead. Born hopeless, the brokest, fighting swarms of locusts in bed. I wrote this one dead, and it resuscitated my breath in hopes I spit it loud enough to make it resonate in your chest. My girl's telling me to quit spitting about demons and blood. I said, you just remain my angel. Hush my screaming with love. See, I'm fiending for drugs in the form of over 3-minute hugs that suffocate till I'm exhaling crows and breathing in doves. I represent duality. Look for the best and the worst. Stretching the search for God beyond the devil's threshold of worth. Ended up finding him within my struggle, stressing my hurt. Now I exhale him gradually with every breath in my verse. And I chase after the blessings, but stay prepped for the curse. And outmaneuver disappointment by expecting the worst. The tests and the work, the lessons may hurt. Depression may burst from my seams, but it leaves my dreams wrestling with thirst. Sekou is ravenous, grabbing this mic like dragons in flight. Spit with the savageness of hyenas that laugh at the night. Oh! Man up, partner. You a wolf or a sheep? A rook or a fleet? You filled with empty quotes from the book or belief? See, I'm looking to feast and trying to reach my 7th day, trying to stand in heaven's way. But till the final hour, I hustle, blood on my knuckles, sweat in my eyes, but I'm still swinging with hotness. So if you looking for me, look up. and watch this. And those women at that moment, literally, by the time I looked back down, they were all sitting up in their seats, in their beds, and the kids were gathered around, and it felt like it was just like a living room, and it felt like it was just home. It felt like I was just doing like one of those, junior high variety shows in your living room where you just grab the blanket for your cape and the curtain and your parents and your aunties and uncles are gathered around. It felt like home. And it was the biggest lesson for me that we don't always get our lessons trickling down, right? Sometimes they trickle up. It was an adult that brought me, Chris, that brought me and said, I want you to come talk to these adults as an adult. But it was the kids that said, I want you to come talk to these adults. Sorry, Chris said, I want you to come talk to these kids, and the kids said, I want you to come talk to these adults, right? They need to hear this. They need to understand and be reminded of what it is that we know, that we live, that we understand our perspective of the world. My last job that I had before I quit and became a full-time poet, which was 11 years ago, and then since created a new category of motivational speaking called Poetic Voice, where I sort of take inspirational speaking and spoken word poetry and I fuse them together and help give voice to the organizations, to the messages and missions of organizations across, from global nonprofits to Fortune 500s, and help them to tell their most powerful stories in a way that shows them the best version of themselves so that they have something to live into. But before I did that, the very last job that I had was the biggest classroom for me learning this. And I tell you, it is without fail, right? Here's the proof. It is without fail that when mingling at any dinner party, anywhere, my route of casual conversation with women inescapably leads to the final question of the night she will care to ask me. How many kids do you have? My answer is always 32, all from different mothers. I tend to, like Cooper, hang out at these dinner parties by myself. However, when fellow educators ask me, how many students do you have? My answer is always, one. I don't know about you, but I get paid to learn. I have 32 of the best fifth grade teachers a district salary can afford. And each day we trade secret lessons like Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I offer them organizational techniques like Venn diagrams. Remember Venn diagrams, right? Conjoin two circles of separate information and see what is shared in the intersecting space. And they remind me to practice what I teach. When I come to work grumpy after last night's argument with my wife, they are quick to point to the class rules. Well, Mr. Andrews, did you listen when others were speaking? Raise your hand. Play fair. Did you show respect? Bring enough for everyone to share? Did you clean up your play area? No. I said, did you clean up your play area? And these lessons, they're not confined to my classroom either, right? Godchildren, neighbors, students, and nieces, each child in our lives is heaving with curriculum. The younger the educator, the shrewder, more embarrassing the pop quiz on simplifying when they see me struggling with some overcomplicated adult task and offer juvenile suggestions like, hey, how come you don't just do it like this? It's so cute. I hate when they do that, right? Because they don't know. They're precious. When it's an appropriate way, when they get older. I don't know. How come I don't just do it like this? So like a big kid being educated by little adults, I sit in the front row and I let them learn me something. Last week, my teacher modeled for me the uniform of courage. She wore roller skates for the first time and a firm grip on her mother's thigh and said, take notes. This is how you dress for risk. Today's lesson was on sharing. Apparently, Caden's mom makes the best bologna sandwiches, while Brent's dad packs the best snacks. So take notes. They tell us if we pool our resources, we can each of us eat like kings. And despite occasionally discovering that peanut butter and Miracle Whip don't actually work well together, at least we've also discovered that we do. And tomorrow, like clockwork, Naomi will make up with Denise after their weekly tetherball fight. And not because she can't still kick Denise's butt, mind you, or because she actually cares about being uninvited to Denise's stupid slumber party, which apparently she didn't really want to go to anyway. But because she's trying to teach us that recess is too precious to spend alone. So the victory, it ain't always worth the war. But this is before Brent will taste prejudice, right? Before Denise will mimic hatred, before adults will seduce them into wars without cause, leaders without laws, religions without God. This is before my students will come to me confused after American history class, where they are taught there are no dumb questions, except for ones about Thanksgiving and genocide, or founding fathers and slave owners, or any of our great nations' little unmentionables that were already mentioned in the bottom right-hand corner of page 12, is it? Which, we're not going to have time to cover this year. This is before my nephew will engage in his coloring book with a colorblind eye, struggling to find himself in a box of Crayolas and desperate to understand why he's not really brown like he's supposed to color mommy, and not so yellow like he's told to color daddy, but will too quickly assimilate to the politics of crayons. This is before I will spend more time unteaching what they have learned than learning what they could teach. This is now. This is me on the couch griping about foreign policy while my goddaughter bounces with glee before a TV screen showing foreign citizens celebrating liberation or something. And granted, she, like most of us in the world, don't know liberation from imperialism, but she does know dancing. And dang it, if there are people in the TV screen getting their boogie on, you better believe she is going to drop her toys and join them. People who she don't know, to whose land she may never travel, of whose politics she is not concerned. What concerns her is that the music is playing and the people are celebrating, and she is looking back at me with a frown on her face, thinking to herself, what in the world is wrong with you? It's obviously time to dance. And she's right, isn't she? It's time to dance and sing and play music in the streets of downtown LA. It is time to let go of fear's leg and learn to take a risk on each other. It is time to embrace every crayon but think outside the box. It's time to show respect, bring enough for everyone to share, and clean up our global play area. And it is time to tell Denise, yeah, I do want to come to your slumber party. And you have a home at mine. And you can dress how you like and pray how you like and love how you like. People, it ain't that hard. Here's the secret. Just take these overcomplicated adult solutions to intolerance and injustice and inequity and indifference to society's intolerable conditions and just do it like this. Conjoin these circles we so desperately try to keep separate, when the best that we could do is be connected. So I stay perpetually invested with the best kids I've affected, who blessed me with the secret lessons of Venn diagrams, taught me to intersect our human collective. And now I am 14-year-old Taylor Warnett. World peace with straight A's and 6 billion Facebook friends who insist on asking dumb questions until your answers get smarter. You better stand back. I am 5-year-old Omari Benjamin, a single blade of grass with a Dora the Explorer briefcase who can't wait to spark wildfires. You better get ready. I am 9-month-old Taya Wilson. Revolution in size 1 sneakers, and governments tremble at the
pounding of my imminent footsteps, you better watch out. I am coming.
Thank you. Thank you.